Well, good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. I feel so much better today than I did on Friday. Friday felt like the most burnout of burnout I've ever been, which is funny because I felt like I didn't really do that much. But self-reflecting, I realize I feel the effects of change a lot more now than I used to. So there was a lot of moving parts last week. And so instead of dealing with it and, meeting it head on, I just kind of let it build up. And I think that's why this weekend was a little bit crazy for me. But I feel much better. I took a few days to kind of refocus my energy and then lay out a better way to move forward for myself. So I'm a person of lists. I really like having lists. So I have my list of things to do, and then look at list of things to talk to you guys about today. So today, it's awesome that we're actually going to talk about how to control anxiety. It's amazing that was on the schedule to happen. It's like it was almost meant to be. So talking about how to control anxiety. This is going to be different for everyone, but this is why we're doing this 14-day body and mind reset, right? Is I'm giving you a bunch of different ways to kind of decompress yourself, kind of check back in with yourself. Hey, how's Amanda doing right now? Has there ever been a time where you're really, really frustrated, but everything's fine around you and you're don't know why you're angry, and then you realize you're wait a minute, check in, why am I angry? You're oh, well, I'm angry still because my toast got burnt this morning. Okay, that makes sense. I'm still angry about that. Well, it's not even that big of a deal. You get to talk yourself through what it is that's bothering you, even if it's something little. This happens a lot for me, is if it's something small that that shouldn't bother me, I'm well, then it doesn't bother me. But you gotta be wary of how you're actually feeling, and then even if it doesn't make sense, right? You can be angry or jealous or sad over somebody else, somebody else's life and problems and stuff, and then it could really have an effect on you. That's why they tell you to kind of limit your exposure to people to positive vibes, right? Positive vibes only, right? So I'm just gonna kind of run through this list. You guys probably already know a lot of these, but I wanted to touch on some of my favorites and hopefully share that with you. So how do we control anxiety? First is to decrease your caffeine intake, which is hard because usually when you're oh, I'm so upset, I don't know what's happening. You know what? I just want something. I'm just gonna have a coffee. I love coffee. Coffee calms me down. Or you know what? I'm gonna have some chocolate. I like chocolate. Just God, I'm feeling all like a bundle of spaghetti, right? That's what I think about it in my head. It's just everything's mismatched. Everything's not going the way I wanted it to. So yeah, you resort to literally the worst thing that's actually going to make you even more anxious. So try not to go for caffeine or chocolate or anything that's going to increase your heart rate. Try to go for things that are going to calm you down. So you can that golden milk tea that I was talking to you about a few days ago. Golden milk tea, all purely protein, no caffeine. You can have a cup of that. Still gonna have that same type of ritual of okay, calm down. I'm having a cup of something different than water, and you know what? You can kind of deep breathe, center yourself, be mindful of yourself in that time period. Kind of check in on how you're doing. Another thing, this is a big one for me, is you ever get super irritated and you're just irritated at everything. You're I don't want to do anything. Oh man, drivers on the freeway are stupid and traffic is stupid and I don't want to do this anymore. Why do I work for this? Why am I everything just irritates you for absolutely no reason. I love taking a nap at this point because you know what? Just like with my kids, I don't admit when I'm tired. So like, oh, I slept 6 hours. I shouldn't be tired. Well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be, but you are. So why don't you take a nap? Or, just go relax. Just lay down in bed for like 10 to 20 minutes. Just give yourself a break. That like lack of movement for just a small amount of time is enough to make your brain going from racing, trying to get to the next thing, next, to, okay, calm. It's another like way to do your mindfulness technique. So calm down, just sit. Right now, I'm just sitting in my car. It's to talk to you guys, but like I was just earlier trying to like Google search, like, oh, I could go to a restaurant. I should go get something to eat. It's almost going to be lunchtime. Or, you know what? I really want to go for a run. I should Google search where to go find a park in Seattle. And I should go here. I should go there. I really don't want to pay for parking. But if I stay here, I could pay for parking and I could pay a little bit more and I could just walk to something like, whoa, Amanda. That's when I wrote down my list. I wrote down my list, which actually leads into another one of our tips to decrease anxiety is writing it down. But I wrote down my list of everything that I was trying to accomplish in the small amount of time that I'm doing this right now. And I can be, okay, what is the most important? You know what? You need to talk. Let's record our talk. Once we check that off, we can go to the next thing. Plus, seeing that cross off on your list, you're like, oh, I'm getting things done. This is amazing. So, another way that you can do this list is instead of writing down things that you need to do and just kind of like getting it off of your mind, right? So you write it down, like, upload your videos. I have to do a patent. I have to do some, workouts for different clients. I have to do something for my website. I have to meet with an apartment. Like, I have all of these things that I have to do, but instead of like having it run around in my brain and potentially forget about it, I'm going to write it down, and this is my list for the week. This isn't my list for today. This is my list for the whole week. So I'm going to cross off as many things as possible, and whatever I don't get done today, I'm not stressing about it. I'm rolling it over into the next day. You can also do it the opposite way. So let's say checklists like really intimidate you. Once you see everything that you have to do, like there's been times I've done this and I've literally gone through 2 pages front and back of things that I need to get done today. So luckily that hasn't happened in a while, but it's intimidating seeing it all written out of the things that you have to do. And so once you make that one list, like I said, you can do it the opposite way of instead of writing down things that you have to do, write down things that you've already done today. Just today, just focus on the day, right? So, you can write it down of like, okay, I made that phone call to set up my vet appointment or whatever. Like I did laundry, I emptied the dishwasher, I cleaned the dishes, I made breakfast for my kids. Like writing all these things down, you're gonna feel better about, days that you don't feel as, productive as other days, right? So like, you ever just go through your day and it's like 3:00 and you're like, I haven't done anything, but you feel like you've been running around all day? Those are the days that you need this reverse checklist of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write down everything I have done. So that way it's not just you being like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. Where's my time going? I still haven't done anything. No. Write it down. Look at your list. Like, oh, okay, I did laundry. I did this. I did that. You end up doing a lot of little things that you completely forgot about. And then, you're giving yourself grace to be productive in those smaller ways versus like these big giant projects that you're probably working on. Another thing that is a good mindfulness technique is to look at the big picture. So a lot of times we get stuck in our own little world of, me. This is like how I feel. This is my world. This is what's happening in my life. And so we kind of forget about us, being little humans on Earth in like this giant vast universe of other universes. Like looking at space, like it sounds kind of like cheesy, but like looking at space and, like galaxies, like just looking at literally the bigger picture of like, hey, this is bigger than me. Like, I am just having a bad day. That's okay. There's some days, like Friday was probably the most productive, best day I've ever had. And you know what? To me, I still was super angry. I was still agitated. I was, I was just like inside of my own head. No, it's okay. Some days it just feels like that. No matter what happens, you still have something that just you can't snap out of it. I always think of it as like, just some type of like hormonal imbalance or whatever, right? Like just angry, which is fine. Like now on Monday, I'm just like, wow, you know what? Friday was actually a really good day. I had, this many sessions. I got to hang out with one of my friends. I got to go play with my kids. Like I did everything that, me a year ago would have been striving to do on a Friday. So just taking the time to look at the bigger picture. Also, one of my friends likes to go hiking and like look at the mountains and stuff, because they like to think, these mountains have been here for thousands of years. They don't care if I'm having a bad day. They don't care if, a client decided to stop working with me. Like these are things that are self-imposed, and it's up to me on how I react to it. If a client stops working with you, it's like, cool, you know what? I have these lessons learned from this person, and now I have this time to go dedicate to somebody else that actually wants to do it, or somebody that needs a little bit more help from me. Moving on. Speaking of moving, get moving. You can exercise. Yeah. So this doesn't mean you have to have like a super hard workout like we've been doing with our like HIIT and Tabata, our like hour-long workouts. If you only have a little bit of time, all you got to do is just go out, go for a walk. Just walk somewhere. Walking is like the best exercise. Like we've done it literally since like we've been here on Earth, right? So it's like not a new thing, and it's really, really good for your body. It's good for your lymphatic system, which is what processes the bad stuff out of your body to make sure that you don't get sick or injured. So make sure that you're moving, ideally outside in the sunshine. Get out of your own head. Spend some time in the beautiful state of Washington that we're in. If you're not in Washington, I'm sorry. You should move to Washington. You could also treat yourself to, a manicure, a haircut, a facial, a massage, something that seems almost unnecessary, but, like you like it, right? So for me, whenever I'm like super in my own head, I'll go get a manicure, I'll go get a massage, something where someone is doing something for me. Or big one is order from like Grubhub, like have someone else make food for me for once. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, those are like some good ways to treat yourself. Like, don't obviously like go overboard and buy yourself a Tesla or something, but like, something small. You can also watch some comedy. I really like watching stand-up of, different comedians. My sister swears by essential oils. There's some that are like specifically for calming you down in the middle of an anxiety attack. So if you want more stuff on that, let me know and I'll give you my sister's information. She's awesome. You can chew gum. So this is like instead of eating, right? So like don't go and like stuff your face of like brownies and chocolate chips and like all of these things that make you feel better. Like chew gum. Eating is one of those things that your body feels when it's in an anxiety attack. It's in that flight or fight mode, right? So it's like, oh my God, something's happening. We gotta go now. But if you're eating, your body gets triggered of like, okay, wait, everything's fine. Okay, we wouldn't be eating if there was something going on, right? Like we wouldn't be eating in the middle of like a war. So maybe we're not at war. Interesting. okay, calm down. And it's literally just as easy as that. I always keep gum in my car. Drinking water, dehydration can sometimes lead to like making you feel kind of like sleepy or tense. All of these crazy things that can happen. So drinking some water, I really like coconut water because, you know, it's very, very hydrating. Also has, what do you call it? The, what's the word? I can't remember. It's like, I don't know, extra hydrating for your muscles. I can't remember the word for it. You could also talk whatever is bothering you out with either yourself or with like a trained professional, like someone that's actually meant to listen to people's issues and like kind of help them work through it. And, you know, there's no shame in talking about what's bothering you. Even if you know, like, that's my big thing is even if you know, like, I shouldn't be angry about this, but I am. Why am I angry about this? Oh, well, it's because it reminded me of this time in my past that a similar thing happened. And you know what? Apparently I never really resolved that. So, okay. Thank you for helping me talk. Like, you literally just talk it through out loud with somebody. Kind of like what I'm doing with you. Last thing I'm going to do or talk about is just volunteering. Volunteering is awesome because it takes you out of your own head. You can volunteer with like Habitat for Humanity. You can go to a local shelter, like a homeless shelter, or either a pet shelter in order to help volunteer and, just do some good outside of yourself. It'll help kind of take your mind off of your own problems for a little bit, give you a little bit of space to kind of like breathe and hopefully come back and have a plan for everything going forward. Sorry, this was a long video, but I just wanted to make sure that we touched on all of these different things of how to control anxiety. You can go ahead and try all of them, try a few of them. Leave me a comment on how you felt with these and if any of these that I may have left out that have really, really helped you. So that's about it. I'm going to go for a walk, I think right now, since it's such a beautiful day out, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.